Hello and welcome to a young, scrappy, and hungry edition of Easy Listening with Brian Eads. Those of you that are fans of the hit Broadway musical Hamilton would certainly get the reference. Speaking of Hamilton, you can now stream the movie on Disney Plus as of this morning. I am so glad you tuned in today. I definitely think we'll have a good episode for you. I'll be talking about the NASCAR doubleheader at Pocono last weekend, the Indianapolis NASCAR race this weekend. The Stanley Cup playoffs now have their hub city locations, and you don't want to miss this, a special toast to America on this 4th of July weekend. I would also like to extend a special welcome to those of you that are listening to this podcast on iHeartRadio, on social media, Twitter, and on YouTube. This past weekend, NASCAR decided to run a doubleheader at the Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania. This was the first time that any NASCAR track has run two Cup races back-to-back in the same weekend. At least for the top two spots in each race over this past weekend was basically what I would call musical chairs, where Kevin Harvick won last Saturday's Pocono race, while Denny Hamlin finished second. On Sunday, Denny Hamlin wound up winning the race, and Kevin Harvick finished second. This weekend they will be running at the infamous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For those of you that follow IndyCar would know a lot about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and for those of you that followed NASCAR since 1994 would know a little bit about this track as well, which is always a special race to win it for any driver. Unfortunately, one driver will not start the Indianapolis race on Sunday, and that is 7-time champion Jimmie Johnson. The reason he will miss the race on Sunday is for health reasons. As for who has the pole for Sunday's race, it was done by a draw like it has been since they've returned to NASCAR back in May, and Joey Logano drew the pole position. Now it's time for a little National Hockey League talk. As some of y'all know, that their season was concluded as a result of the coronavirus pandemic that is still going on. They have set the format for the playoffs that will begin later this month on July 30th. The first round will be a qualifying round, and now it's time for a little National Hockey League talk. As some of you already know, they decided to end the regular season as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, which is still ongoing. The format for the playoffs go a little bit like this. The top two in each of the four divisions in the National Hockey League will essentially get a first round bye. The format will consist of a best of 5 qualifying round for those teams that fall below the cutoff line of what I just mentioned. After the best of 5 round is finished, they will go to a best of 7 until a Stanley Cup champion is determined, when there are 2 teams left. I should also make note that the 2 hub cities for the Stanley Cup playoffs will be in Toronto and Edmonton, Alberta. Now it's time for my favorite sport of all, the great American pastime known as Major League Baseball. It was determined earlier in June that Major League Baseball would return to play on the weekend of July 23rd and 24th. They will play a 60-game season, and there's still rumors of possibly an expanded playoffs as a result of the pandemic that is still ongoing. I think the 60-game season could provide some very interesting strategy among all the teams, because the shorter season would certainly play into how teams prepare and even play out certain games. Now, as I promised at the beginning of this episode, I do have a special toast for America on this 4th of July weekend. And this is my toast to America. On this 4th of July weekend, please bear with me until the end, that we all make a heartfelt toast to the U.S. of A. from coast to coast. Through all the fighting and all the wars, our military is still the strongest force. As we celebrate our independence, let us not forget the journey of our descendants, so that it is on this we celebrate the birth of still the greatest nation on planet Earth. That is all I have for episode 8 today. I hope you guys definitely enjoyed it. And as I leave you today on this 4th of July weekend, please everybody have a safe holiday. Please definitely remember what this holiday is about. Be safe, enjoy each other's company, even if you have to do it 6 feet apart. And I will talk to you guys next time.